Lodz, Poland, the winter of 1907. Across the board sits Akiba Rubinstein, calm, exact, said by many to be the strongest player who never wore the crown. Facing him, the white pieces, a rising talent of barely 20, Georg Rotlewi. What follows is a quiet masterpiece the world would come to call Rubinstein's Immortal. If a slow game like this is how you'd like to fall asleep, take a moment to subscribe. There's a new one each week. It was a game from another world. The romantic age of chess was just then fading, an era when masters chased a beautiful attack far more eagerly than a safe little point. Lodz was a great mill town then, crowded and growing, a place where a strong chess culture had taken root among its players. Across the board, two of its sons. The white pieces belonged to Georg Rotlewi, barely into his 20s, a rising talent with a brilliant career seemingly ahead of him. That career would be cruelly short. Illness would soon end his play, and he would die young, leaving only a handful of games, this one chief among them. The black pieces belonged to Akiba Rubinstein, born poor, one of many children, who came to the game late and gave his whole life to it. He was quiet, shy to the point of suffering, and over the board he was something close to perfect, calm, deep, exact, drawn always to the clean and lasting move. In the years just after this game, he was perhaps the strongest player alive, and many believe he was the finest never to wear the world crown. The title match he earned was never played. War came, then hardship, then a long illness of the mind, and the crown stayed forever out of reach. But on this winter evening, none of that had happened yet. There was only a young man with the white pieces, and a master with the black, and an even position between them. What they built together over the next hours would outlast them both, and be studied for more than a century as one of the most admired combinations in all of chess. It begins as an even thing, a slow, patient struggle for the center, with nothing yet to mark it as legend. And then, near the end, Rubinstein begins to give the pieces away, one after another, in a flowing storm of sacrifice, until Rotlewi has no defense left to find and can only lay down his king. Close your eyes now, and let the board take shape in the dark, 64 squares, the pieces waiting, the first move about to be made. The board waits, the pieces in their ranks. White has the first word. And the first word is spoken in the center. The queen's pawn steps forward to d4. 2 squares, a flag planted in the middle of the board. Black replies face to face. The pawn to d5. 2 pawns toe to toe, and neither willing to give way. White brings out a knight from g1 to f3. It leans toward the center, unhurried. Black answers with a small pawn move, e7 to e6. It opens a path for the dark bishop and steadies the pawn on d5. White plays just as softly, a pawn to e3. Modest squares on both sides, no fireworks, only 2 players laying their foundations. Then black pushes the c-pawn forward to c5. A question put to white's center. The pawn on d4 must answer it. White strikes on the wing instead. The c-pawn to c4. Now the tension rises. Pawns lean on one another across the middle. This is the heart of the opening, each side claiming the center, neither blinking. Black develops a knight to c6, leaning on d4. White mirrors it, a knight to c3 guarding d5. Notice how the game rhymes. Move answers move, and the 2 armies grow alike. Black's last knight comes to f6. 4 knights now, spread toward the center, like hands warming at one fire. Let the picture settle for a moment. White holds c4 and d4. Black answers with c5 and d5. A small knot of 4 pawns locked in the middle, each one guarding the next. Both kings still at home. Both pairs of bishops still asleep on the back rank. A calm, balanced morning on the board. Now comes the first capture of the game. White's pawn on d4 takes on c5. The center comes apart and a white pawn sits deep in black's half. It is the first small inexactness too. A colder modern eye prefers to clear the tension the other way, taking toward the center and keeping a slightly firmer grip. By giving up the d-pawn's post, white lets black's pieces breathe, and it is exactly that freedom black will lean on, move by move, all the way to the end. Black takes it back at once. The dark bishop sweeps out, from f8 all the way to c5. An even trade, but look at what black has gained. That bishop is awake now, aimed clear across the board toward white's side. From c5 it watches the squares near the white king before the king has even moved. This is the truest path too, the strongest reply played without hesitation. White answers with a quiet pawn to a3. Easy to pass over, but there is a plan folded inside it. It readies the b-pawn to push forward, to take space and to chase that bishop along. Black echoes it, a pawn to a6. The mirror again. Black prepares a push of his own. Now white expands. The b-pawn lunges to b4. It nudges the black bishop, telling it to move along. The bishop steps back to d6. Not a retreat in spirit. It settles on a fine diagonal, looking toward white's kingside, toward the square h2. A patient piece choosing its line for the long game still to come. White develops the other bishop now, out to b2. A fianchetto, the bishop tucked low behind its own pawns. And from there it gazes down the great diagonal from b2 toward g7 and the squares by black's king. 2 dark bishops now, one on each side, each pointed at the other's home. Hold that thought. It will matter, later, more than you know. Black castles on the king's side. The king slips to g8. The rook hops over to f8, safe behind its pawns. White lifts the queen to d2. It joins the rooks together and lends quiet weight to that long dark diagonal. Black's queen rises to e7. Off the back rank, ready to swing toward the kingside if the moment asks. White moves the light bishop to d3. Now it points along its own diagonal, toward h7, toward the black king. So both light bishops are aiming at the enemy castle as well. 4 bishops, 4 diagonals, all leveled at the 2 kings. The symmetry is almost eerie. Black chooses this moment to break the center open. The pawn on d5 takes the pawn on c4. Lines open. The middle clears, and the pieces feel all at once suddenly free. This is the sharpest path again, both players walking a narrow, perfect line. White's bishop recaptures on c4. Both armies are light on their feet now, poised, lean, nothing wasted. Black pushes the b-pawn forward to b5. It strikes at the bishop and seizes space on the queenside in the same breath. Gaining room and gaining time, the bishop must move once more. And it does. White's bishop drops back to d3. Home again to that same hungry diagonal, leveled once more at h7 and the black king. Black lifts the rook from f8 and slides it quietly across to d8. It settles behind the d-file, behind a line that may one day open. White answers softly, The queen steps from d2 over to e2. A small move, but hold that queen on e2 in your mind. It will matter more than it looks. Now black wakes the last sleeping piece. The light bishop comes from c8 to b7. From there it breathes along the great diagonal, staring down the long road toward white's king. And white finally tucks the king away, castling short, king to g1, rook to f1. Both kings are home now, and the pieces lean inward toward the center. Then black plays for contact. The knight on c6 springs to e5. It lands right in the heart of the board, eyeing the bishop on d3 and the squares near the white king. White does not hesitate. The knight on f3 takes the knight on e5. And black takes back. The dark bishop swings from d6 onto e5. Now the bishop sits proudly on e5, raking down the diagonal toward h2. This is the trade black wanted. The dark bishop no longer merely watches that long road, it owns it, and the soft pawn beside the white king is suddenly within reach. White gives it a gentle shove. The f-pawn goes to f4. The bishop must step back, and it slips home to c7. But notice, even from c7 it keeps that long diagonal, still patiently aimed at h2. White claims more ground. The pawn pushes to e4. Black brings up the reserves. The rook on a8 slides to c8. Now, both black rooks point into the center, loaded and waiting. Here white pushes once more, the pawn from e4 to e5. It strikes at the knight on f6 and grabs space. But this is a small slip. A quiet rook lift instead. f1 to f3 would have braced the kingside first. That rook on the third rank would have stood guard over the squares the coming storm will strike, and it is now seen as the move that quietly held everything together. Instead, the center overreaches, and a door swings open for black. And black opens it with check. The bishop swings from c7 to b6. Along the diagonal, it strikes the white king on g1. White steps into the corner, king to h1. Now the knight leaps from f6 to g4. It does not flee the pawn that chased it. It advances toward the king. From g4 it covers h2 and f2, the soft squares beside white's castle. Notice the daring of it. The pawn on f4 could simply take this knight, and yet to take it would tear open the gate beside the king and let the whole black army pour through. So the knight cannot really be touched. It sits there, untakeable, lending its quiet weight to every threat that follows. Keep that knight in mind. It is the quiet heart of everything that follows. White's bishop steps out from d3 to e4. Now two bishops face each other down the long diagonal. White's on e4, black's on b7. And between them, only the white knight on c3 is holding that bishop on e4 in place. Here white had one last chance to break the spell by simply taking the knight on g4 and accepting a hard, lesser game. It is now seen as the only road that did not lose. Instead, white reached for the bishop and left that single knight on c3 carrying far too much weight. Black is about to show how much. Black brings the queen into the storm from e7 all the way to h4. Now, look what gathers around h2, the queen on h4 and the knight on g4. Both of them stare at the little pawn beside the king. The threat is mate. The queen takes h2, the knight guards her there, and the king has nowhere to run. White must do something about it. So white plays the pawn to g3. It attacks the black queen on h4, and it does something quieter and cleverer. It opens the second rank. Now the white queen on e2 sees clear across to h2. So h2 is guarded after all, the mate is gone, and the queen on h4 must move. And here black answers with thunder. Ignoring the attacked queen entirely, the rook on c8 crashes down onto c3. It takes the knight, the very knight that was holding the bishop on e4. Without that knight, the bishop on e4 hangs by a thread. And the black queen still stands on h4, attacked, simply offered up. This is the hinge of the whole combination. The rook does not save the queen, it removes the one piece guarding the bishop and dares white to take the larger prize. If white declines and saves the bishop instead, the storm only grows, and modern analysis agrees there was no longer any quiet harbour left to reach. White accepts. The g-pawn takes the queen on h4. Black is down a whole queen now, a queen for a knight. White might have grabbed the loose bishop in the corner first, a small delay, but a colder modern eye finds that even that only postpones the same flood. The position is already past saving. By every ordinary count, this should be lost. But black is not counting material. Black is counting the squares around the king. Now comes the second blow, soft and deadly. The rook on d8 glides down to d2. It attacks the white queen on e2, the very queen that was guarding h2. Two black rooks now sit deep in white's camp on c3 and d2. Each rook does a single ruthless job. One has stripped away the knight. This one now drags the queen off the square from which she guarded the king. Neither can be safely ignored. If the queen runs, the attack breaks through, so white takes the rook. The queen on e2 captures the rook on d2. But the queen has been lured off the second rank, and h2 is bare again. And the bishop on b7 sweeps down to take on e4 with check. The diagonal to the corner lies open, e4, f3, g2, h1. Every capture so far has been in service of this one open line. The bishop did not need to take much, it needed only to see the king, and now it does. The bishop's eye runs straight into the white king. White must block, and there is only one way. The queen comes back to g2. It stands between the bishop and the king, but now it is pinned, frozen on the spot. Let the whole board take shape one last time. The white king is wedged into the corner on h1. In front of it, the pinned queen on g2, unable to move. Beside the king, only the lone pawn on h2 stands as a guard. White's rooks rest far away on a1 and f1, and the dark bishop on b2 is only a spectator. Now the black pieces. The bishop on e4, pinning the queen to the king. The bishop on b6, watching g1 from across the board, sealing that escape. The knight on g4, quietly covering h2. And the rook on c3, free, hunting for the way in. Everything black owns is aimed at one square in the corner. And the rook finds the road, from c3 all along the third rank to h3. It halts one square above the king's last pawn. This is the last quiet step, and it is now seen as the cleanest of several winning paths, the one that leaves white with nothing at all to answer. And here we see why this ends the game. Black threatens to take on h2 with the rook, and that would be mate. Picture it. The rook captures the pawn on h2, right beside the king. The queen on g2 cannot take it back. She is pinned by the bishop on e4. The king cannot take the rook. The knight on g4 is guarding that square. and the king cannot flee to g1. The far bishop on b6 covers it. No capture, no flight, no block. That is checkmate. And white has no way to prevent it from coming. Take the bishop on e4. The rook still mates on h2. Run the queen off that diagonal. The bishop's check is the same answer. There is simply nothing left to try. So white stops the clock and resigns. A queen was given away, a rook was given away, and the few quiet pieces that remained did the rest. A bishop, a knight, and a single rook woven into a net the king could not slip. This is the game they would come to call Rubinstein's Immortal. Won not by force of numbers, but by the geometry of a few perfect lines. Every piece on its square, each one guarding the next. There is nothing left to play now. The board can go still. Let it rest there, in the corner, in the dark. And let yourself rest with it. Good night.